You're watching Open Agenda. Here's our host, Joe Venosa.
Hi, and welcome back to this week's episode of Open Agenda. Now, actually, speaking of this week, there's quite a bit that's going on in the community. And so what we're going to do today is we have a very West Side-centric episode. We're going to bring on Mr. Matthew Korshkin, and he's going to join both of our friends today, Mr. Jim Atkins from Mardella and Mr. Joe White from Parsonsburg, Pittsfield. Parsonsburg, man.
East Side.
I've only had half a cup of coffee today. But we are going to talk today heavily about great things going on the West Side. But we also have two episodes that we will also push out later in the week that deal with very important things happening in the community. Yeah. One is, of course, the budget issues that are going on with the county right now because we're in budget season. And as both of you know, or all three of us know, it is a fun and interesting time if you're looking at numbers.
Well, Jim and I both went to the budget hearing yesterday, and we got to hear the breakdown that also included the sheriff's office, the fire service agreement. And I think it was a very productive meeting, but there are still some questions that still need to be brought up, answered out of that.
I have no doubt. And in addition to that, we're going to be looking at an episode specifically on city issues. It's been quite a while since we've looked specifically at things going on in Salisbury city government. But of course, a lot is happening. Not only is the collective bargaining debate continuing, but there has been a lot of developments recently about their budget, about some of the major ordinances and resolutions that have passed. And also, I think you'll get a sense of, in that episode, a better sense of the city dynamics with how the council is sort of playing out now under President Jackson's leadership.
I got to watch some of that on PAC 14. Did you watch any?
No, I haven't seen any of that. But one of the interesting things that is probably going to be covered in both the county and the city episodes, it's going to be the fire service agreement, which is along with the collective bargaining issue that's going on in the city, the fire service agreement between the city of Salisbury and the county is going to get very interesting in the next couple of weeks. And a lot of attention is going to have to be paid to that.
At least at the county council budget meeting that I witnessed on Monday was the intersection of the city desires, the county's desires, and the SWOT analysis that was done 2 years ago.
And an election year.
Well, and in an election year conflates it very much.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that, but of course this episode we're specifically going to look at sports on the West Side. Before we do that, though, just very quickly, because this has come up in the community, I don't know if those of you have been watching about it, but unfortunately there was a really, in my opinion, despicable act of vandalism that occurred in Fruitland the other day at the Little Fields.
Yes.
And, it's, when we talk about community and sports and youth, we tend to want it to reflect the best of our society. And it's really unfortunate that there were, and again, we don't know who's responsible for it yet, but there was pretty substantial damage done to the baseball fields in Fruitland.
Yes, and there just is not a thorough understanding of the efforts, the money, and everything that's put into having these fields, having these places for kids to play and do that. It's just, it's an expense that's going to have to be covered.
Sure.
It's an inconvenience.
Sure.
But the thought just is not there. I guess the bottom line is there is just a lack of respect.
Yeah.
When they're still in the middle of their season.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, how about the kids that this is their 12-year-old year, they're playing Little League, and now the scoreboard's been damaged. And it's going to be great to get to talk to Matt Korshkin because we're talking about positive things that are growing.
Yeah.
But this is where we need to take a look in the mirror and say, hey, what do we really want for the youth around here? Because if we can't respect each other's property, then we're really going down a wrong path.
Well, that's the thing. You talked about expenses, and certainly money's a part of it. But at a deeper level, to me, the real cost is the idea that whoever's doing that doesn't value what that space is for everybody else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because it's one you can replace the Suns, but the mentality of somebody who does that. Because again, you're robbing other people the chance to play and to be there for the things that bring everyone together. And that's kind of why what Matthew and other people on the West Side are working on is so important. Because they're building rather than destructing.
You want to lean into folks like Matt Korshkin and Mark Carroll and Dan Bailey who are doing great things for the community.
Yeah.
But then the folks who are responsible for this, when you woke up Sunday morning after you destroyed someone else's property, how much better was your life?
Yeah.
Not at all. And obviously there's a lot of anger and frustration there.
Yeah.
But I could tell you, I understand the Fruitland Police Department is on it. They'll use every resource that's available to them to bring these folks under, to justice.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do now, if it's okay, Joe, is I'd like to bring Matthew Korshkin on and talk about some of those great things that he's doing on the West Side and sort of get a better sense of what's really going on out there as far as programming and youth sports and other community activities. And then afterward, I'd like to bring you back in for segment C, and then maybe you both can dialogue on the issues.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what he has to say.
Cool. And Mr. Jim, are you going to stick around with us for a little bit on this?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Westside.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stick around and we'll be back with our next segment of Open Agenda, looking at the West Side. Welcome back to Open Agenda. With us in the house, once again, is Mr. Jim Atkins. Thank you, sir.
Morning.
Morning, sir. And Mr. Matthew Korshkin of the West Side Neighborhood Alliance. And Mr. Korshkin, you actually have some really exciting news about what's been going on the West Side over the last few weeks, correct?
Yes, actually. And it's one of the reasons why I'm here is to promote this week. Last week we launched our indoor soccer night. And what we're doing with that, in the fall, we plan to launch an actual sponsored West Side team. We were kind of throwing around names last night for it. But what we want to do is kind of get the kids used to it, because there is no sports there now. So we there's not a whole lot. A lot of our kids already traveled to other places. We're trying to get it back closer. So on Thursday from 6 to 8, we hosted indoor soccer. And Mark Carroll of Sharptown, they brought futsal down. And it's played indoors in the community center, and they brought some ambassador players down, and we had a really good turnout, but we could use some more.
Okay.
We're going to need about 10 of our local kids for us to be able to make this happen in the fall. Starting in September, we're going to play down at Cedar Hill, and there's other teams in Hebron and Pittsville and Sharptown, and they're going to come down, and we're going to go over there. Mm-hmm. And it was such a great experience, Joe, to see the community center alive with the children. We probably had about 17. I'm sorry, we had about 17 kids come.
I saw some photos online, and it was really cool.
But we need more. We need more local. So that's why we're here today. We're trying to promote this indoor soccer Thursdays from 6 to 8 in Bivalve. Mm-hmm. You don't have to live in Bivalve. You can live in one of the surrounding areas. It's fine. Come down and play some indoor soccer. It's a lot of fun. And I'm sorry to kind of ramble on this, but I'm really excited. I was actually really happy to see what I saw, because the kids in our area need this, and they need somewhere. And like I said last time, we drive by these parks with these fields, they're just empty, and it breaks your heart. And if WCNA can help facilitate that, we can bring our resources to bring teams and bring sports back.
Yeah.
Great.
I think the whole concept of just reinvigorating a space with kids and making these facilities come alive again is the essence of what you try to do in those places.
Yeah, and it's nice that our community has this space, and it's nice that we were able to use it, and we just need a little more kids to come out.
It's great. Mr. Jim, Mr. Westside, what do you think about all this?
I think it's fantastic what they've going on. If you haven't seen it, you need to, and you're a Facebook person, you need to go on Facebook. They put out a weekly updated calendar of the events that are going to happen that week. I mean, the futsal, it was great. The best part about it was the last half an hour where the parents got out there with the kids.
Did you play too, Jim?
No, sir. I stood on the sidelines, but it was fun to watch. And but they have bingo down there. Mm-hmm. They're looking at a cornhole tournament. They have historical presentations and talks down there by people, yoga classes, all kinds of things. So you need to go on Facebook and look online and see what's happening down there, and go down and support these people, because they're trying to give the community what the community wants.
One thing I want to hit on too that you mentioned, we have a lot of great programs, and we're trying to bring in more, and we kind of recently hit a little bit of a snag, and one of the partnerships we were excited to announce is with Warwick Community College. They don't have anything out in our area. When we contacted them, they were excited to work with us. We said, hey, we're thinking about bringing a GED program into the community center.
Oh, wow.
And our initial conversation was going to be, how do we do it? Can you help us facilitate this? And they're like, help you, we will do it. You get us some people, and we will bring teachers. You can brand it as Warwick. And it literally, they will be enrolled as Warwick Community College students.
Wow.
But the courses we held at the community center. The only thing we need to bring is 5 students. It has to be a minimum of 5 students at each course, and we have to provide the equipment. And we were hoping for a grant for the laptops, and unfortunately, it didn't come through.
Okay.
So we are, one thing we want the community to know, if there's anybody who has a good pathway, and Jim, you had mentioned something earlier, I wanted to talk to you about it. If you could reiterate what you were saying earlier, we need about 5 laptops.
Okay.
And we need them by July, basically, for us to be able to, and of course, Warwick's willing to wait until the next, semester, but we're hoping to get it started as soon as possible because our area has a lot of need for that, and we want something more than just. We want people to be able to have that pride and that dignity of having their GED, and they actually have a program. There's a step above that called the NEDP, which they're going to be offering, which is a national GED program. And instead of getting a GED, you get a diploma from the state, and it's not a GED. It looks as though you can't tell that.
You can't tell the difference.
Basically, yeah. So we need those computers.
Well, this is really interesting then because when we talk about not only these kinds of community centers generally, but specifically here on the West Side, it certainly goes beyond just futsal now, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that the public should really know is that this kind of a place is for everybody.
It's funny you mentioned that. A lot of people don't realize we're a county park. And sometimes it feels a little provincial in the West Side because we really take care of our own. We're very insulated out there. And a lot of what we focus on is the lives of the West End residents, enriching them through programs and resources. But like with our coming cornhole tournament, which is only a $5 entry fee, by the way, and barbecue, which is coming down the line, anybody in the county can come. And any of our events, anybody from the county can come, and we welcome anyone from any area, but specifically with Comico County. Yeah, come down to the community center. It is the West Side Community Center, but it's not our only community center. We want everybody in Comico County to know that it's a beautiful 5-acre park. There's Cedar Hill Marina right up the road.
Beautiful place. Yeah.
It's an amazing area. Come down to our area, see what it's about. Come to our bingo, win money. It's actually really easy to win money at bingo. It's only $20 admission, and an extra book is only $5. That's doubling your chances for $5.
Do we have a salesman at the table? Do we?
Yeah, well, and see, a lot of people don't realize WSNA is a 501c3. Bingo, as an example, is one of the only ways we make money. We can make money through donations, through our events, and through grants, and that's basically it. We don't make a single dime of profit. It all goes back to doing things like trying to buy laptops and things like that. So it really is a good cause, and we try to do a lot of good with it. And the thing I forgot, by the way, I wanted to mention it because I want to shout this out to Joe and Mark. I played sports as a kid. We all remember our coaches as a kid, right? And Dan Bailey came down, great guy, but he's a coach. You look at this guy and you're like, yeah, that guy's a coach, right? He's got the persona, he's got the demeanor. But they were really, really great with the kids. It was so play-oriented with indoor soccer, this futsal, and it was so that I don't even know if the kids realized they were working on their skills. I really don't, and that's what I like to see was a bunch of kids out there humping it and like sweating, and you know what I mean? It was a bunch of kids having fun, laughing, playing, and not realizing they were really laying down the fundamental skills for soccer.
Yeah, that's what you want with youth sports. Too,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Well, so
ball.
many teams these days, like your kid has to be the next superstar, and you have to. If you don't start at 4 years old, you're going to fall behind, and there's a traveling team, and that's not what we're looking for necessarily.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. And I'm glad you brought up this one fact that even though you have a wonderfully, and I don't want to say insulated, I'm going to say tight knit community.
Absolutely.
Because you connect to other things, but it really is a jewel of our county to be out on the West Side. Believe it or not, some of my best memories with my son when he was 4 and 5 was at the height of COVID, when everything was closed down, and we would go out to Cedar Hill Park and the marina and just hang out, and it was just a wonderful area to explore and to just, again, the nature is just incredible there. And so you really have at your fingertips some wonderful resources, and so hopefully we can get a little bit of assistance with the laptops and to make some of the programming, expand.
Yeah, and our biggest problem is we're not on the main road either. And it's just, Nanticoke Road's the road in and the road out. And when you're passing Cedar Hill Park, I always tell people there's a marquee after the second entrance. If you look left, you can see our building.
Yeah.
But a lot of people come to us and say, we didn't even know you were here. And again, it's a county park. Come down and see us.
Yeah.
We're there.
Amazing. Mr. Jim, any comments?
No, it's hard to top Matthew when he gets talking about it. I mean, it's good. I think one of the things he hasn't mentioned, and when we had him on the show before, one of the priorities was that the building needed a new roof.
Yeah.
Had a lot of water coming in the roof when it rained, which it hasn't done lately, but they're getting a new roof.
Yeah.
The executive and Parks and Recs and the county council have all gotten together and put the bid out. The bid's been taken care of, and they're going to get a new roof. So we won't have water inside the building destroying other things in there.
May 21st is when I believe they're going to. I mean, I was actually shocked with the time frame that I thought July, maybe May 21st, they're going to start it, and we will see slight interruptions in programs, but they're giving us only a couple week timetable on that.
Well, they're trying to get it in before in this fiscal year, before
It's
July
only
1st.
70 years
done,
old,
yeah.
the old roof, and hopefully, I mean, this is going to solve a lot of problems for us.
That's great.
And by the way, that was really great of the county to do. I want to go on record and say thank you to the council for that. We got a pretty unanimous vote on it. And, they were unaware of how bad the situation down there was, and they really came together and mobilized. And for us to get it bumped up from 2029 to this year was great.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful when good things happen to good people. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The community down there is really is getting together, and I think that it's at the point now where it just people need to know about it. The knowledge needs to be out there of what's going on down there at that community center. They're growing and doing good things. I mean, they can't go and make it all wonderful in 1 year.
Sure.
It's been ignored for a lot of years, but they're taking one step at a time, and they're getting things happening down there.
Clearly, clearly, just a few steps go a long way.
Yeah. We're rolling.
Beautiful. Well, it's always good to hear good stuff. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to bring Joe White back on, and I'd really like to get his perspective more broadly about how the kind of things that you're doing on the West Side with youth sport and community engagement, and how those kinds of trends help not only the county more broadly, but really help communities like yours not just sustain themselves, but become more plugged into the wider community. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be right back with the next segment of Open Agenda. Thanks for sticking around with us here at Open Agenda. Back with us in the house is Mr. Matthew Korshkin from the West Side Neighborhood Alliance. And coming back again, Mr. Joe White.
Thanks for having me back on.
Hey, there's no better guy for youth sports and these community issues. And then so we have a meeting of the minds here.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm definitely, as Matt said earlier, Dan Bailey, Mark Carroll, they are the soccer coaches.
Well, you've got some pretty good credibility in that world too, I would say.
I really enjoy it, but at the same time, to watch, I went down to their first soccer night last Thursday. I did not coach the kids, but to watch the community come out, some kids who, I mean, they were shy at first, and he talked about Dan getting the kids out there. As much of that is the other kids got the kids out there.
Yeah.
And once you start to make those connections, we've all won.
Yeah.
No matter what the score of the game ends up being.
Yeah. The ability of other kids to model behavior, that's nothing new, but to see it in a game in sports is always wonderful because it sort of takes it away from the coaches and the adults, and then it makes it about the kids again.
One thing I have said many times, people have heard me say, is usually the adults can ruin it.
Yeah.
So we can just let the kids do the kids thing.
Yeah.
They'll make it great.
As a teacher, I couldn't agree more.
Well, definitely.
And to what he was saying, there's one girl in particular, I remember, one little girl who came, and the Baxter kids all came with their guards, their shin guards, their shoes, their jerseys, and it was a little intimidating to some of the community kids who showed up in their clothes. And she was shy and she was scared, but she came, and I don't think her parents made her come, and they were able to get her out onto the pitch, and at the end she was laughing and having a good time and making friends, and that's why you do it right there. Like she had an opportunity to really learn why you play sports, and I don't know. You just think if she hadn't been there, if she hadn't made that effort, and if they hadn't taken the time, because some people would just let her be like, oh, she's having a tantrum or whatever it is. But no, they worked with her and they let the kids work with her, and it didn't take much to get her out there laughing and having a great time.
We've seen this in Pittsville. I started coaching with Dan Bailey, as Matt was mentioning, in Hebron, and we needed some more teams to play. And being from the east side, I wanted to engage our part of the county as well, my part of the county, I should say, in the rural aspect, because there's just not a lot of programming out there. Actually, maybe there's none in a lot of respects. So when we started 4 years ago now, we started from the bottom and worked our way up. And it was the kids who then invited their friends out. That's what really got the ball rolling. And now we're to a point where some of our, what used to be 5th and 6th and 7th grade kids are now getting into high school. They've gone through our referee training so that they can help out with the 2nd and 3rd grade kids reffing. I mean, these aren't certified refs, but you start to get that community spirit.
And mentorship.
And I had one kid who's a wonderful soccer player and great kid. Hard to coach sometimes because his skill level is really high, but maybe he's still learning the game. He's getting to be about high school age, and he helped me out last year with one of my Division II kids, teams, which is 2nd and 3rd graders. And he says, "Boy, it's hard coaching." And I said, "You don't say." But it's such a joy, But it was great because now he can take that back to his own life and say, okay, well, maybe I need to pay attention a little bit more.
Well, that's the other part of it too, is that it helps frame things for younger kids, just getting social skills, having fun, just doing something. But then to your point, on the back end of it, those older kids learn other skills that they're going to take hopefully to the rest of their lives.
I've hired a lot of people in the businesses I've owned, and one of the questions I ask in an interview is, do you play any sports? I don't say, are you good? I don't say, do you play on varsity? Do you just play?
Yeah.
Because if you've ever been a part of that team and that team effort, then you're much easier to coach as a manager.
Sure. Yeah.
And it really folds in. What I was so impressed with the Westside Community Alliance and Matt's organization is the holistic nature of what they're doing. And I really hope that that's the message that resonates out of this episode, is we're talking about futsal and soccer because that really brings the community together in some ways that a lot of other activities don't. But there's so much more going on there. I saw it. The board they have out front talking about the sewing classes, and you see some of their sewing projects up. I'm sure there's other get-togethers down there that aren't just a yoga class, or congratulations on having the mindset on education, because how could you change not just an adult's life? Say you have a 20-year-old who had a child at a young age and they didn't finish high school. You offer an opportunity for that 20-year-old to complete their education. You're helping that 20-year-old, no doubt, but are you helping that 3-year-old? And I've seen that in my own life around a lot of the same kids I've helped coach. Once you start to bring everybody up, the whole community benefits. And Pittsville and Willards, we've started using fields that weren't being used anymore. Those towns have been so wonderful to our program, offering us the ability to use the parks and the lights, helping us get some equipment when we've needed it. We've gotten a lot of our own, but they've been there to support us. And then as they're finishing the Mason-Dixon Sports Complex, I've been engaged with the town of Delmar for the last couple of years, and they've been so open. We're hoping to bring the same program there, because although the kids who live in Delmar have a wonderful Little League, I mean, it's great, and they can go play rec soccer over at Winter Place, this gives them an opportunity to stay in their own neck of the woods in the fall to practice soccer as well.
Yeah.
Well, and something people don't realize, a lot of parents, there is a commitment from parents that we need, and that can be hard sometimes. But every Wednesday we do pick up basketball for adults. Wednesdays at 6 o'clock at the center by Valve, Maryland. All are welcome. And it's free. And so when I was talking to them a little bit, I was like, because we had this whole thing became, we had some kids come sometimes and they were a little intimidated. They didn't realize a lot of these guys that come to this have been coming to the center. They're literally in their entire lives. They played basketball together their entire lives. They're good. And they know each other well. They play like a team. So we had like, a 12-year-old would come and he would be a little outclassed. And anyway, so when I said to one of them what we were thinking about doing, he literally said to me, well, do you guys need volunteers?
It's awesome.
And I was like, well, sure. Why do you ask? And he said, well, I used to play soccer, indoor soccer here growing up, and he's played basketball, and they used to have a camp there and everything. And he's like, that meant a whole lot to me. And I'm paraphrasing here. He said, I just want to give back. I want to help out. And he said, I have my own kid now, and to be able to give that experience to them, he said, that's why I'm still here, still coming back to basketball, because this place will always be a wonderful place to me. And we want a new generation to grow up with that kind of love for our area and for those programs. And, it's not just sports, like you said. So, because that was another thing, was talking to those very guys. We're like, well, what else? They said, you would be surprised the adult illiteracy in our area. And one of the biggest problems is these kids that grow up in our area are very disconnected. So, but they have to be bused all the way to Salisbury. They go to Bennett. And so the kids over there, they're not from there. They don't.
Yeah, there's a little bit of ostracization.
We have a very hard time with that. So we said to them, we were like, hey, we brought in a class. Do you think and they said, yeah, absolutely. And we said, any way we can help enrich the lives of our residents, that's what our mission is, whether it be sports for their kids, whether it be, because that's another thing, getting these people out here. I want to see the entire community coming out when we have these games at Cedar Hill in September, because we're going to.
Nice.
I want to see the community coming out and cheering on their neighbors' kids and coming together and everybody just being. I want to get back to a place where I feel like we were. And people say this a lot, but it does feel like pre-COVID. After that, everything changed, and I want to get us back out there in the community together, and I want to enrich our lives and help us in any way we can.
You talk about that disconnect going from Bivalve over to Bennett, but in the meantime, if the kids are coming up and playing against other kids in Hebron and Mardella, there won't be that disconnect by the time they get there. Or even if there is, they're like, well, you know what? I didn't know any of the kids and played in Hebron or Mardella either, but I got to know them. And, you have this competition that's not friendly necessarily during the game, but it's friendly after the game, and there's camaraderie. I think that's huge. And I agree with Matt. We got to get out of this post-COVID mindset. And I've seen this in business too. COVID is over. So if we're staying in the COVID mindset, it's out of a choice. Or we can make a different decision, and we can choose not to be in that COVID mindset. And as a taxpayer in this county, if we're going to spend $130,000 on a roof, I want it to be for a facility that's getting used, that can be used. Why would we want to have to put a roof on something that no one's using, but we have to have programming? And hats off to you all for just jumping right in, because I know it's only been a couple of years that you've gotten started.
3 years now.
But you're not trying one thing. You're trying many things. And if cornhole doesn't work, maybe barbecue chicken does, or vice versa.
And that cornhole too, that was actually an interesting discussion, because originally we were thought, well, maybe we could grow this into like the Outrigger tournament or the Flounder Pounder or something like that. And we were like, no. That was the decision behind the entry fee for a cornhole tournament will only be $5, and there won't be a huge purse because of it, because we're not looking to make it into a cornhole tournament in that sense. We're looking to make it like a family barbecue.
Right.
You come, you have a burger, you play cornhole with your buddies, you enjoy the park, and you have a nice day. There'll be live music, things like that. Fostering a sense of community. The gym night I was talking about, open gym. You know what? It was freezing cold out, and we wanted to give the residents a place where they don't have to get a membership. They don't have to pay money. Just come and play basketball and have fun. And it's only 2 hours. It's not a big deal. And that's trying to be our mindset. Low cost, and everybody's welcome.
Well, the whole premise of this is essentially, it's one thing to have a building, but it's the people you put in the building that matter.
Right.
And I think that's what you've done in a very short time to reinvigorate it. And I think as we get into the spring and summer, as you've talked about, you're going to see the manifestations of all those efforts. So
we hope so.
Hats off to you.
I think everybody should take Matt's challenge and get down there for one event and see if they enjoy it.
Get on the Facebook or get on our website, www.westiside.now.org, or just Westside Neighborhood Alliance on Facebook. And we post, like you said, a weekly schedule. And if there's anything you'd like to see, if you're going to come, if you're going to bring your friends, if people are going to come, reach out to me, come to one of our events and find me. I am at almost everything we do. And say, hey, I would love to see pickleball. I would love to see, we have a bird lecture class. What if you did bird watching on site? Whatever it is, we love your feedback. Write us a DM on Facebook. Doesn't matter, because like you said, it really is, our focus is the Westside residents. I get that, but the community center is for the entire county. It's for everybody.
Beautiful. Well, gentlemen, thank you for this awesome stuff. And again, to the public, good things are happening on the West Side. Keep it
Come on
watching.
down.
Thank you. All right. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be back very soon with a new episode of Open Agenda. Take care.